What's up, everybody? It's your favorite lender's favorite nerd, and the reason why I say that is because I need to give a special shout out to Ben, also known as @FearCorpse on Twitter. And yes, I'm overpronouncing the P just so you can find him on Twitter. He's pretty much our Twitter guy, so if you want to find out all the latest going on, so what we're doing, he's the guy to look up on Twitter. And I passed on this unit. He wanted me to take a look, so he said, "Hey man, would you mind if I send it to you?" And I said, "No, dude, go ahead." And it's heading to T2RX6 next, so it's making its way around. That being said, here it is, and he's better than I expected. I have to be honest. It rolls like a champ. It has this accessory in it already, and we're going to take this out. I just want to show what it looked like with it on. And it's a tight fit, tight like a toy guy. And then it has this back piece on here, which has the gun inside, and this is actually really smart and really cool. It seems like super gimmicky, but it's actually really cool. It's hard to get out. So there's one. There's the other. There you go. That's his like pistol. And then there's actually something you can do with these later on that I'll show as well. But that's the vehicle, and it's solid. The plastic's a good quality, more dense than like Hasbro plastic, and it's nice. My complaints are that it's very plain. It seems like they're relying on repro labels an awful lot here to kind of make this work. And secondly, that the translucent windows allow you to see like the parts forming bit, or not the parts forming, but the parts that form, if you know what I'm saying. And I wish that they would have just painted these windows or had them like that, you know, like that wouldn't have bothered me. I don't know why they feel the need to have them be translucent. That seems to be something that goes on just beyond this company. I'm not sure I get it. Paint wise, it's extremely limited. There is this front bit here, and then that, and these two bits here, but very plain. The other complaint that I have with this is that it doesn't feel like Brawn to me. It feels like it's trying to do what the Masterpiece line is trying to do and make it a more accurate vehicle. And I hear you, and I get it, but to me, that's not what I want. I want the vehicle that matches my G1 view or vision of that character. I don't need it to look like the accurate vehicle. I want it to look like the cartoon, or at least a modernized version of the cartoon or something. This looks a little bit too realistic for my sensibilities. I don't really get off on this, if you know what I'm saying. It's not necessarily for me to have it look like a true deformed vehicle. And this looks like more of a military vehicle than just a Jeep, which is kind of how I envisioned him anyway as a kid. But it is well done for what it is. So, you know, if that's for you, then that's for you. I can kind of see why people are pressured when they're sponsored or whatever to say good things about toys, because it does kind of put the pressure on when you're holding somebody else's thing and they sent it to you and they want you to take a look at it. Got a new toy, got a new toy, gonna get you out of the box. Okay, got his new toy. Someone else's new toy, gonna take it over here. So there he is. There's the iGear one, and there's the G1. Now the iGear one looks more like the G1, which is what I kind of like, and then this one looks more real life, which, you know, may be your thing, and I can see how it would be. I'm not knocking you for it. It's just, you know, I don't like this stupid thing on top, but that's just me. So, you know, even if they would have put some of these little detailing things on there, like the M, you know, like it's kind of like a standard. I don't know why they would have just passed on that, but I guess it's they're trying to make it the vehicle. So there's the kind of the evolution of them, right? And is there anything else we need to take a look at before we get this guy transformed? He is a bit of a bear to transform back into vehicle mode, and since he's going to go to T2RX6, I got to transform him back again. So that's pretty obnoxious, because he is kind of a bear to get him transformed into vehicle mode. But to get him transformed into bot mode, it's not that bad. I'm still probably going to stumble across it because I didn't want to like manhandle this thing a whole lot, you know, because it's not mine. So the first thing you want to do is untab these windows, and they are in there, and but they go. It's just everything's a really tight fit, which is a good thing, but it just makes me feel a little nervous because it's not mine. And there are some thinner pieces of plastic. Not to say that the plastic quality is thin, because it's not. It's just that, you know, that's a thin piece. And then you kind of just got to open everything up. This all hinges out here. These feet come down. The knees bend forward instead of backward for transformation, which is something new and different, and that's pretty cool. So let's get the feet squared away. Open them up here. You got this tab here that prevents you from pulling down any further, so you can open that up. You got the foot. He's jammed up in there. So we'll swivel him out and then bring him down. And then this tabs back in here. Now, before you do that, well, we'll take a look at that in a minute. We'll take a look at that afterwards, actually, just to show you how it's done. Let's just get the transformation squared away. And then you close this up here. And that all tabs to get, like, you know, it all cleans up really nice. Now this is on a double hinge, so if you don't have it quite right, it's not going to line up quite right. But once you get it lined up quite right, it goes. It goes like a champ. No issues. Same for the other leg. Open up this flap. Swivel down. Get the foot out of the way. I guess you don't swivel down. Swivel out. Hinge down. Bring this bit of business down here. Tab in. This hinges back and around. And tabs in here. And like these hinges, I mean, they're tight, and they're you know, there's a lot of give there, and I don't have, I guess there's a little stress mark in there. So you gotta be careful just when dealing with stuff like this, but it's not, you know, it's not horrendous. This knee has got to come up. So there. And then just, you know, that swivel's really tight too, and it's good to have tight joints. That's not a criticism. I'm just saying it so that you remain cautious. And that's the feet, and well, kind of sort of, and that's one of my big complaints is this piece right here. This is a die cast piece. Okay, this bit of business here. You gotta kind of untab, 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 untab. This whole assembly, but let's see if we can't swivel these down. And then this whole assembly here. I wonder if Ben's nervous watching this. Come down, that folds down, and then you just kind of gotta collapse all that. And then these are on sliding panels, and I hate sliding panels as a you know, it makes me think of Chronos, but this is a far cry from that. This is actually done pretty well. Swivel these around. Oh, they gotta go the other way. And then these tab into there. So maybe. Oh, bring that out. Okay. So slide these in. That tab's in there. Bring this down. Swivel this around. Hinge. Double hinge there. No, single hinge. I'm sorry. It just goes a long way. There you go. And what did I... Oh. I am 8 up. Okay. So you got to have the waist fully collapsed before you do this. This is all my fault, not the toy's fault. It's early in the morning. And I had to jump on it because the kids were in the shower, so otherwise they're screaming and yelling in the background. Bring the arms down. This folds up folds up, folds down. This piece folds up, doesn't tab in. And that, to me, is a huge fail. Bring the hands out. This isn't anything new. So that's the transformation of him. Now the really cool thing is that you can take him from here. You know, now you can do this while you're transforming him. I just wanted to get through it. See how that did? Anyway, bring that up. Plug that in there. My fat fingers can get a decent piece of leverage on it. Swivel that down. Tab it back in. And I'm not going to show you both sides, but you can do both sides, and that fills in that gap there. That's really smart, and it's really thoughtful. You know, something they didn't have to do, they didn't have to engineer in, and they did. And then, you know, does he hold his weapon? And the answer is like a champ. Right, so let's talk about him a bit. Head is on a hinged swivel that gets you all the up and around that you want. Shoulders are on universals that are ratcheted up and down, but not out. Elbows are on a double hinge and they are ratcheted. Soft ratchets, but they are ratcheted. Wrist swivel, and you get a tilt as well, which is nice. Same on the other side. Waist swivel, that works like a champ. Hips are on universal joints. Soft ratchets forward and back, nothing out, which is fine. Double jointed knees, which gets you 90 degrees. Let's give it to him. Ankle tilt, rocker, no real tilt, and a toe hinge, which is usually unnecessary, but it's an extra added incentive. He put an Autobot sticker on here, so, but imagine that without the Autobot sticker, and that's a plain looking toy, and that's kind of one of my problems with it. The head is shaped a little funny to me. I don't know, it just seems a little too round. But nice metallic paint on the eyes, nice metallic paint on the face. The colors are all accurate, you know. So I think there's the real comparison that people want to see. You know, there's the G1, and you know, I hated the G1 toy even when I was a kid, and this is my one from the kid. So don't give me a bunch of nonsense about his arms and so forth. Like this one's even broken off. But you know, I think this is what people really want to see, and there's no question that Brawny, the Bad Cube one, is superior to the iGear one. There's no question about it. Now the iGear one was half the price, but there's no question. He's a better toy pretty much all around. You know. But is he worth double the price? That's kind of the question. And there he is with a few MPs. Or, you know, what I consider to be my MP scale. But yeah, fits in really well. So here's the thing. He could have used some more line work. He could have definitely used some more paint. That's my big thing. He is plain all over the place. Something is weird about the head sculpt. And lastly, the price point. The price point is $95. It's just high. And you can tell that the price is paying for all of those swivels and all of those hinges and all of those moving parts. And I'm not sure they needed all of those moving parts in order to make this toy effective. And he is effective. He is a good toy. This is not a bad figure. This is a good figure. But there's an awful lot of money being put out for this figure. And I'm not sure if you'll feel like you'll get that return, especially with the limited amount of paint and the head looking just a little round for me. I mean, I know what he looks like. You know, you don't have to go crazy. But those are my big things. And then that pelvis piece not tabbing in is a huge oversight. For the amount of things that they have on this thing tab in everywhere, for that not to really tab in, that really bothers me. In a lot of other ways, though, this is a third-party Masterpiece toy that really feels like a Masterpiece. The transformation is intricate. You got to be careful. You have to do everything kind of in the right order. You got to make it happen. It's not a lot of willy-nilly to it. It's really thought out. It's really well engineered. It's like a puzzle, and that is cool. It's a pain getting it back in truck mode, but getting it into robot mode is actually one of the more fun transformations I've done in a long time. The size is perfect. The overall aesthetic is really good. You know, even that stuff that's tabbing in and down at the bottom of the legs on the sides kind of throws it off when everything else looks so clean. But the fact that they took a lot of thought into making little things work for it, like the canisters inside the legs and all that kind of stuff, really does do this thing some credit. It is a good toy. It's just whether it's worth the price point to you. If this thing ever went on sale, I'd pick him up. He's good. He's solid. He's just $100 is an awful lot of money for this. You know, when you're thinking about $60 for that Masterpiece Bumblebee and people are complaining about that, you're probably going to have similar complaints about this paying $100. It's not that it's bad, I'm just not sure it's worth it. But it could have been if they got rid of a few swivels and a few hinges and put a little bit more into the overall presentation. Good unit though, worth taking a look at. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, until next time, take care.